My name is Vsevolod Patriu, and I'm going to be acting as the MC today. Also, people call me Lottie, if you have trouble saying that first name. So, I thank you all for coming and for being here. So I thank everybody for being here, the audience, the mayor, the church that is hosting us, and two other people which I'll mention later. I'm not going to hold up the show, and to start off, I'm going to introduce Reverend David Prentice from the Trinity Episcopal Church of Melrose for some comments and to begin with a prayer.
Thank you, Lottie. I'll be opting for that pronunciation of your name. I'll go for the easier one there. Welcome to Trinity Church, everybody. On behalf of the church, I want to welcome you to this and let you know how honored we are that you're all here and we have this exhibit here. One of the main reasons we're honored to have this exhibit here is because as Christians, as a church, we believe in sharing stories. We believe in the importance of our stories. We share them often and learn more about each other, and then we learn. But as you know, at this point in life, not all the stories that we share are happy. Especially in the news these days, we hear quite a few stories from the Ukraine, and often these stories are tragic and very hard stories. But these are stories that are also punctuated with bravery, strength, perseverance, and love of country. And in this exhibit, as I understand it, we will hear tell of over 4 million people dying from starvation, unbelievably in a famine that was largely orchestrated by the Soviet government. But it's not just telling our stories that's important. It's important to listen and pay attention to these stories too. Someone much wiser than I once said, we need to pay attention to our past because those who cannot remember their history are therein doomed to repeat that history. So what we do here today, we remember. And I wanted to begin by offering a prayer for peace. This is based on some words from Coretta Scott King, modified slightly into a prayer. Let us pray. May we come to know that nonviolence is the only credible solution to violence. May we come to know that everything and retaliation always lead to the cycle of anger, fear, and more violence. May we come to know that the greatness of community is most accurately portrayed by the compassionate actions of its members. And the blessings of God, Creator, Word, and Holy Spirit be upon you and all those that you love this day and always. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Prentice. That was pretty moving. Next up, I would like to introduce Paul Brower from the city of Melrose, the mayor.
Everyone has a tricky name today, I suspect. Thank you, Reverend. Thank you to the Ukrainian Cultural Center of New England and the Ukrainian American Educational Center for their organization of this event. I also want to extend my gratitude to Andriy Boyko, Alona Padali, and Phil Kokura for working together to bring this exhibit to Melrose. I will say, we are proud to live in Massachusetts, one of 9 states in America that have recognized the Holodomor, I hope I'm saying that correctly, genocide. And that's as of 2018. We joined other nations throughout the world in recognizing the genocide as well. And most importantly, as a city, we want our Ukrainian community, both here in Melrose and throughout the region, to understand that we see you, we hear you, and we stand by you. This year has been a true test of resilience for the Ukrainian community. However, I was proud to witness this community coming together to support you through donation drives, vigils, and most importantly, the awareness of actions against Ukraine showed the power of a community, of your community, that has been subject to injustice and invisibility for far too long. Beginning on 90 years ago, Soviet authorities created a false understanding, a false narrative of the actions of Holodomor through the dissemination of information, more simply put, by falsifying history. Today, we understand these dangers of denying and falsifying simple truths. The exhibit is a powerful tribute to the Ukrainian people who are subject to horrific mass starvation, the weaponization and the politicization of a basic need like food. I am grateful to be here opening this display to bring awareness to our city, to the city of Melrose and the larger community. We only grow as a community by understanding the past, and we know that genocide runs through history and continues to ravage the world today. Education is prevention, and the preservation of human stories, as the Reverend mentioned, helps keep our community strong and safe from repeating those actions again. Too many times when we reflect on history, we say, no more. We will remember. And yet, we see the repeating. We see the repetition of history and the inhumanity of some groups against others. And it needs to be called out, and it needs to stop. So thank you very much to the team of researchers and academics who work to grow and maintain our understanding of these horrors. And most importantly, to the survivors and their families who aid in our understanding this experience, thank you both for your sacrifice, you have our compassion, you have our support, and you have our commitment that we will continue to tell the story and work to stop it from happening again. But today, I encourage all of you to walk through this exhibit in the context of our world today and our conflicts that we see throughout the world today. When we learn as a community, we grow as a community, and I'm honored to see so many of you here today. Thank you very much, and please enjoy the rest of the ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor Paul Broder. Get it right this time. I'm going to put my glasses on to do better. Okay, so I'm going to take my hat off as the MC and put my hat on as the president of the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, Boston branch. And I'm going to make a couple of remarks, or a few remarks, about this exhibit also, although the mayor has done an excellent job and saved me a lot of work, which is great. As the mayor mentioned, lately we've been hearing about Ukraine in the news. And this exhibit, I hope, will afford us the opportunity to learn more about Ukraine. Hopefully to add to that context two factors. One was the Holodomor, which is the past genocide horror that happened in the 30s. And secondly, learning a little bit more about the Ukrainians who are living here ever since the 1880s, who've come to the greater Boston area, and what they've been doing in their lives. And that's the two parts of this exhibit. As the mayor mentioned, the Holodomor was an attempt to destroy the Ukrainian nation as a potential entity or concept that was separate from the approved Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic of the Russian system. To achieve the goal, Stalin's regime starved to death millions. 4 million is sort of the current number. The number is constantly being bounced back and forth. It was as high as 12, as low as 4, 7 to 10, in my opinion, is the right number. But the scholars are saying 4 now, so the mayor is right with the scholars. But there are other scholars. So But it was such a secret event that no one really kept count. And I'm assuming there will be a comment from a survivor that will point to that more in this program. The other thing that happened is it wasn't just starvation of primarily the rural area of Ukraine, which was the backbone of Ukraine, the farming area, the agricultural community, but also much of the clergy and the intelligentsia were killed or deported. So it was sort of an attempt to eliminate that segment of society. And we kind of know the Soviet system is not big on having an informed public as part of their, where here in the US we are. So the exhibit is a good summary of the Holodomor, and we're focusing on it simply because November was the month assigned to commemorating and remembering the Holodomor. On the 26th specifically is a day that internationally Ukrainians come out and light candles and remember and do events, which the Ukrainian Cultural Center of New England, who is working on this event, also did an event in Boston Common on the 26th, which was very successful to mark that day. Also December 9th, which just passed, is the International Genocide Remembrance and Prevention Day. So we're right in the ballpark. All right. But the main reason that people are reacting to this genocide now and are working on it is that it's occurring again. It's now missiles and bombs and bullets instead of food. But the goal is the same, to sort of destroy Ukraine as a nation. And that is what's got the Holodomor, up to the current position. In juxtaposition, or opposed to the horrors of the Holodomor, there is this exhibit section on the Ukrainians of the greater Boston area, who started coming here as early as the 1880s. And this exhibit, that part of the exhibit, demonstrates the resilience, the fortitude of a people who always find a way to make good in the world. And I'm going to be a little personal. My parents came here with $10 in a suitcase each. And they did fine, and they're doing fine. There was no free Ukraine for them to choose. They chose to be free Americans. And that's important. So I hope that this exhibit will provide some revelation of truth, a sense of hope, and a better appreciation of what Ukraine can be if it's given a chance. And I'm taking off my hat as the UKK and going back to the MC. Next up we have Maxim Boyko reading some Holodomor survivor memoirs, with Olena Tsar playing the bandura on as a background music. So if we could get the chair and get them up here, that would be great. But before they start, I do want to say something, that I want everybody to note the instrument that Olena is holding. That is a bandura. That is a very traditional Ukrainian instrument. And in addition to the horrors of the Holodomor that I had talked about earlier, Stalin wasn't quite satisfied with that. So in 1933, he called what was presumably a conference of the banduristi, the players of this instrument. And he gathered about 1,500 of these minstrels together. And these were generally blind minstrels who eked out a living for them, and usually some orphan child that was their leader, their lead dog in a way, brought them around. by singing, I have a good line here, so I want to read it actually and not just go from memory. Basically, they sang songs of Ukrainian history, songs of the Ukrainian spirit, and passed that on from generation to generation. So he brought them together, and then they were all murdered. And it was in an attempt to eliminate that form of passing information. Well, it failed. We still have people playing, and they're good. All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Nearly 10 people entered the house. They threatened to kill us one by one until we gave them everything we had. They beat, killed, and arrested people, sent them to Siberia. They were all armed. People hid everything and tried to escape their villages. They didn't get very far because Stalin's dogs could find them anywhere. Yevdokia Fashenko. Mykola Melnik. This starvation was all due to Stalin's orders. He didn't like Ukrainians and wanted to exterminate them. His henchmen would come and seize everything they could find. Katerina Panchenko. They took away everything. If they found food, they took it away. Such was the decision by the party and the government. If you hid some food, they could send you to Siberia. There was no way people could defend themselves because they were also threatened to be sent to Siberia. Natalia Butkevich. Many private farmers starved to death. Those who were still alive could barely walk. Entire families were dying. First of all, men and children. Funeral carts gathered the dead and threw them into a white pit. Sometimes survivors were too weak to bury the dead, so they covered them with earth in pits and ditches. Yefrosenia Poplavets. They went from house to house, confiscating lard, potatoes, wheat. They searched through chests and any embroidered clothes were seized if they were found. To save our embroidered shirts, we put them under our old wrecked jackets. It didn't work. They undressed us and took the shirts to eradicate any national spirit in the household.
Thank you, Maxim. Okay, next up, Elena is going to, once they get her set up, perform a song. We're going to do two songs. First Elena, then another. Both songs have the same name, which is Svicha. And that word can get translated two ways, either a candle or a witness. I mean, both kind of shed light on things. So the two songs are different. They have different lyrics written by different people, same name, which makes it hard. When I read the words, for me, that's just my opinion, and I'm not a music person, the first song is more the candle story, and the second is more the witness part of the word. And so I'm going to step away and put it to the bill.
Ніч, і тільки зорі за вікном. Ніч, усе по за тих, хто ще живий, за тих усіх, хто по землі і досі товче ряс. Гори, гори, моя свіча, за рідних дорогих, за тих, хто вже пішов від нас. Ніч, я знову Господа молю, ніч за тих усіх, кого люблю. Знаю, сон мій так далеко відлетів, немов лелека, та горить у темряві свіча. Знаю, сон мій так далеко відлетів, немов лелека, і сльоза зрадлива на очах. Гори, гори, моя свіча, за тих, хто ще живий, за тих усіх, хто по землі і досі товче ряс. Гори, гори, моя свіча, за рідних дорогих, за тих, хто вже пішов від нас.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have Oiha Abukomova. She is from Ukraine. She is a former soloist, vocalist at the Trinity Regional Philharmonic. And she has an excellent voice. So,
Вікні свіча, тріпотіла крилом за плеча, виготіла до правди летіла. Там, де рідний край, де Україну голоду нагай, шмагав до згину не день, не годину. Вікні свіча обівала мати дитинча, колисала пісні гомоніла про страшну біду, недолю, про чужу орду, криваву чорну подай скам'яніла. Вікні свіча горала мати дитинча, колисала не в колисті, не в колисті, але у труні. В паровах їх мільйони по німих церквах стогнуть дзвони, хто ж і в Україні, Боже, нині допоможе. свічу, не забути скарги і плачі, досі чути усе люди тямлять, досі жаль до сліз тих, що не впору їх потяг у кіс. Голодомору тож вічна їм пам'ять.
We are very lucky to have Olena here, Olha here. Okay, we have one more song, and that's going to be the Blue of a Kind Men's Capella Chorus. I'm sure you're all familiar with them, most of you are familiar. And they are going to be singing a song that in Ukrainian is Боже Великий, which is can be translated as a prayer for Ukraine. It has become sort of the unofficial anthem, and many of the church services these days are ending with this prayer. And so the service is about to finish, and the congregation sings the song, and then it's over. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Чистій дай Боже народу і многі літа. Дай йому волю
That was excellent. You guys can take that show on the road, you know, all the way to Ukraine. It would work. They would do it. Excellent, excellent. Okay, we're coming to the close. I'm going to make 2 pitches. This is like, you know, Channel 2. You learn something, and you have to find out who's sponsoring. One, we have a poster over there with a QR code, which will take you to the White House. And we are looking for people to contact the White House and ask that the U.S. recognize the Holodomor as a genocide. They have recently recognized the Armenian genocide, but the Holodomor not officially as the U.S. government. Individual states have, there's about 27 at this point that have issued proclamations, and Massachusetts, as the mayor said, 2018, we're in. And so that's a push, and that's a plug. Second, this exhibit and a lot of graphic work has been done at CRG Graphics. And they're a company that's been very friendly to us in terms of getting things done, and so their logo's down at the bottom somewhere. But I would mention them because Andrei asked me to mention them. Okay. And it's important because I mean, we've been working with them for a long time. They do good work too. I mean, we came up with thoughts of what we wanted. They did the designs. It was pretty good, I think. Okay, and what was the last thing? We have a guest book here, and if people would like to sign it, they can. It's useful for us to kind of document how many people have seen these exhibits. And if you do want to know about more events, you can write your email, and they'll add you to an email list. And I don't think they'll send too many emails, I hope. But that's a personal choice. Trying to think, is there anything else? I think that's all I've got right now, except, no, I know. I'm just trying to get the stuff out of the way. Okay, 2 people, as the mayor mentioned, have really worked hard on this. One, Andrei, but mostly Phil Kukura. And so he deserves the closest for that. You will not see me again. It's now a show.
Thank you. Well, I come before you wearing several hats. One from Trinity Church to welcome you and to thank you for coming to this exhibit, which is, as you have heard again and again, to help build awareness of the struggle that goes on in Ukraine today, coming out of many years in the past, like this dreadful famine that we're looking at the display of today. It is a pleasure on behalf of Trinity to welcome you and to tell you that if you would spread the word about this exhibit to friends who might also be interested, it would be useful in making people more aware of the dreadful occurrences that have been a part of Ukrainian history. It has been a pleasure working with Andrei and with Lodi in helping bring this together. They have been right on top of the situation right from the get-go, and really a very great pleasure on my behalf to be able to work with them. The rest of it is, as Lodi has always said, please sign the guest book, which will be on this lectern over here on the side. I would call your attention to a couple things that you might have missed. And one is the cookbook on the wall there, which is not officially part of the display, but is an indication of what people were reduced to eating in the famine period. And nothing traumatizes it quite so effectively as looking at the literal details of what people were reduced to eating in order to stay alive. The rest of it is something I hope you will find illuminating. Enjoyable isn't the right word, but enjoyable in the sense that you build an awareness of it and carry that forward. Thank you again for coming. It is a pleasure to welcome you. Thank you. So the exhibit is available for your perusal.
No problem. Had a busy weekend. How was Friday night?
Good? Yeah. They had about 1,000 people.
Yeah.
The place is packed.
Yeah, that's not too bad, really. So, yeah. No, this was great. Thank you. And make sure that puts it up online.
It's all good for YouTube. It's all YouTube.
You know, I think this is
A lot of these people like it because they don't have access to it.
If you have a telephone, robocalls may be ruining your day. I'm Katie Daffin, an attorney at the Federal Trade Commission. If you answer the phone and hear a recorded message instead of a live person, it's a robocall. If the recording is a sales message and you haven't given your written permission to get calls from the company on the other end, the call is illegal, period. So, when you get an illegal robocall, here's what to do. Hang up the phone. Don't press 1 to speak to a live operator, and don't press any other number to get off the list. If you respond by pressing any number, it will probably just lead to more robocalls. You might consider contacting your phone provider and asking them to block the number and whether they charge for that service. Remember that telemarketers change caller ID information easily and often, so it might not be worth paying a fee to block a number that will change. Finally, contact the FTC to report your experience. You can do that online at ftc.gov or by calling 1-877-FTC-HELP. To learn more about illegal robocalls and what the FTC is doing to stop them, visit ftc.gov/robocalls. That's ftc.gov/robocalls.
No, I'm not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV. I'm actually an actor hired by the Federal Trade Commission to show you why it's best to use a healthy dose of skepticism when you see ads for cancer cures. Scary and cruel as it is, there are companies set up to take advantage of people with cancer, promising cures that aren't proven to work and may even be harmful. If you or someone you care about has cancer, the last thing you need is a scam. What's the first thing you need? To talk to your doctor. He or she can tell you about any risks of the product and how it might affect your ongoing treatment or any medications you might be taking. Next, be skeptical of claims for cancer treatment products that you see on the internet. You'll hear about supposedly hot products like Black Salve, Laetrile, and Esiac-T, and how they can provide relief for your symptoms or even a cure for the disease. Other things to be aware of: the word natural. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean safe and effective. Natural can be harmful and ineffective. One size doesn't fit all. All cancers are different, and no one treatment works for everybody. Even two people with the same diagnosis may need different treatments. Now, exactly how do these scams work to earn your trust? They use testimonials. They seem real, but testimonials can be completely fake. I looked like a doctor, right? And those patients you see, often actors paid to endorse the product. They use technical jargon, a lot of it. But scientific talk doesn't guarantee scientific proof. big words from a medical dictionary are no substitute from the plain facts from your doctor. The bottom line about treatment is always talk to your doctor. For more information on how to spot phony cancer treatments and supposed cancer cures, visit ftc.gov/curious. You'll also find sources of information that you and your doctor can trust.
If you have a telephone, it probably seems like illegal robocalls are out of control. I'm Katie Daffin, an attorney at the Federal Trade Commission. If you pick up the phone and hear a recorded message instead of a live person, that's a robocall. Consumers are getting more and more robocalls, and they are not happy about it. As the number of calls has multiplied, the number of complaints has too. The reason for the spike in robocalls has to do with technology. Companies are using auto dialers that can send out thousands of phone calls every minute for an incredibly low cost. What's important is that the companies that use this technology don't bother to screen for the numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry. If a company doesn't care about obeying the law, you can be sure they're trying to scam you. You've probably gotten robocalls about candidates running for office or charities asking for donations. These robocalls are allowed. But any robocall that's trying to sell you something probably is illegal, unless you've given your written permission to get calls from that company. The FTC has stopped billions, yes, billions of robocalls in the last 2 years. Tracing these calls is a tough job, and there are a few reasons for that. One is that many different companies use the same or very similar recorded messages. Another is that they fake the caller ID information that you see on your phone. That's called caller ID spoofing, and new technology makes it very easy to do. And a third is that the robocallers often place the calls through internet technology that hides their location. At the FTC, we're continuing our aggressive enforcement efforts, and we're also looking for innovative technological solutions to the robocall problem. For more information, please visit ftc.gov/robocalls. That's ftc.gov/robocalls.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expect it, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Telemarketing fraud is a crime that affects millions of Americans every year. Telemarketing scammers will say anything to commit fraud, even if you're the one initiating the phone call.
Hi, I see you're responding to our ad for a guaranteed line of credit. We believe that everyone deserves a loan. However, we do charge a small processing fee in order to get your application in the system. All I need is your bank's routing numbers. They're at the bottom of a check.
I was thinking of starting a business, but I didn't have the startup cash. My credit isn't so hot, so I thought this would be a great way to get the money I needed. I didn't realize it was a scam. Now I know better. Hello.
Mr. Johnson, we've got a credit card for you guaranteed.
Look, I'm not interested. Don't call me again, or I'll report you to the FTC.
Telemarketing scams usually start with a phone call, but they can also start with an online ad or a piece of mail.
I clicked through an ad on the internet and filled out a form. It seemed legitimate. They called a few hours later and said people like me were making lots of money with just a small investment. They said it was easy to get started and their business experts were just a phone call away. I didn't know they were a fraud. I still get calls for bogus business opportunities. I must be on some sort of list. But now I know better.
I understand you want to make money from home.
I'm not interested. Goodbye.
The Federal Trade Commission and your state attorney general are working hard to stop telemarketing fraud. You can help. Recognize, report, register. First, learn to recognize the signs of telemarketing fraud, like callers who ask for money first, or who want to know your bank account, credit card, or social security number. Scammers may even have your billing information before they call you. Often, they're trying to get you to say okay so they can claim you approved a charge. Second, if you have been scammed, or you think someone is trying to scam you, report it to the Federal Trade Commission. It's as easy as going to ftc.gov and clicking on the link on the right. It's more helpful to the FTC if you can give the name or phone number of the company that called you and the date they called. Third, join the millions of Americans who have registered their phone numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry. It's easy. You can register online at donotcall.gov. Be sure to complete the process by clicking the link in the confirmation email you receive. You can also call toll-free 1-888-382-1222 from the number you wish to register. And remember, although telemarketing scammers may seem friendly, they're anything but. They're trying to worm their way into your wallet. You can stop them by keeping your information to yourself, no matter how tempting the offer. Let's say goodbye to fraudulent telemarketers. Visit ftc.gov/phone fraud to learn more about how to recognize and report telemarketing fraud.
Would it surprise you to learn that millions of computers in the US are infected with malware? That's a lot of computers. So, what's malware and why should you care? Malware, short for malicious software, includes viruses and spyware that get installed on your computer or mobile device without you knowing it. Criminals use malware to steal personal information and commit fraud. For example, they may use malware to steal the login information for your online accounts, or to hijack your computer and use it to send spam. An infected computer can lead to serious problems like identity theft. The good news? There's a lot you can do to protect yourself and your computer. One of the most important steps you can take: install security software from a reliable company and set it to update automatically. The bad guys constantly develop new ways to attack your computer, so your software must be up to date to work. Set your operating system and your web browser to update automatically too. If you're not sure how, use the help function and search for automatic updates. Don't buy security software in response to unexpected calls or messages, especially if they say they scanned your computer and found malware. Scammers send messages like these to trick you into buying worthless software, or worse, downloading malware. What else can you do? Use a pop-up blocker, and don't click on links and pop-ups. Don't click on links or open attachments in emails, unless you know what they are, even if the emails seem to be from friends or family. Download software only from websites you know and trust. Free stuff may sound appealing, but free downloads can hide malware. Make sure your web browser's security setting is high enough to detect unauthorized downloads. For example, use at least the medium security setting. Even if you take precautions, malware can find its way onto your computer. So be on the lookout for these signs. Your computer runs slowly, drains its battery quickly, displays unexpected errors or crashes. It won't shut down or restart. It serves a lot of pop-ups, takes you to web pages you didn't visit, changes your home page, or creates new icons or toolbars without your permission. If you suspect malware, stop doing things that require passwords or personal info, such as online shopping or banking. Use a different computer, maybe one at work or at your local library, to change your passwords. Update your security software and run a system scan. Delete files it flags as malware. If you can't fix the problem on your own, get help from a professional. Your computer manufacturer or internet service provider may offer free tech support. If not, contact a company or retail store that provides tech support. Keep in mind, the most important thing you can do to prevent malware is to keep your computer software up to date. And remember, it's easy to find trusted information about computer security. Just visit onguardonline.gov, the federal government site, to help you stay safe, secure, and responsible online.
The Internet. It offers enormous opportunities to communicate. Most of us, including kids, do all kinds of things online. We connect through email, text, and instant messaging. We post and distribute pictures and videos. We may have profiles on social networks where we share our lives, our plans, and our thoughts with hundreds of people. These ways of communicating and socializing can be convenient and fun, yet they come with certain risks. Many parents wonder, how should I talk to my kids about being safe online? A booklet called NetCetera provides some practical tips. It's based on the idea that the first step to protecting kids online is more about talking than technology. When kids want important information, they turn to their parents. So talk to them about your values, honesty, fairness, courtesy, or whatever values are most important in your family, and how they apply in an online setting. By communicating your values and expectations, you'll help your kids make smarter, more thoughtful decisions when they face tricky situations online. Here are some things to talk about. Social networking sites, chat rooms, and blogs are some ways kids socialize online. They can help kids connect with friends, but it's important to help your children learn how to navigate these spaces safely. Among the pitfalls, sharing too much information and posting pictures or video that can hurt someone's feelings or damage a reputation. Talk to your kids about applying good judgment to help minimize those pitfalls. Most mobile phones have cameras and can shoot video, making it easy for teens to capture and share every moment on the go. Encourage kids to think about their privacy and that of others before they share photos and videos. Cyberbullying is bullying that happens online, and it's a lose-lose proposition. It makes the person being harassed feel bad, and it makes the bully look bad. Talk to your kids about treating others with respect, and let them know they can talk to you if someone harasses them. If that happens, encourage your kids to block the bully if they can, and ignore him or her if they can't. That's because bullies are looking for a reaction. If it continues, ask your kids to save the evidence and share it with you or another adult they trust. Mean behavior usually stops pretty quickly when someone speaks up. Encourage your kids to stand up for themselves and to stand up for someone else being cyberbullied. And talk to your kids about treating others online the same way they want to be treated. Here are some other tips to keep in mind. Start early. Young kids see their parents using smartphones and computers. So as soon as your kids use one themselves, it's time to talk to them about safety. Initiate conversations. Don't wait for kids to come to you. Use everyday chances to talk with them. News stories about cyberbullying, a storyline on TV, both can be the start of a good conversation. Be patient. Most kids need small bits of information, repeated often for it to really sink in. Keep talking. Chances are it'll pay off. Read NetCetera for more information about chatting with your kids about being safe online. It's free, and you'll find it at onguardonline.gov.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.